Good pause YouTube, 6-Foot Hacks here. Happy guys, today team building video for week 4 of Pokemon Full Glory Season 2. Of course, if you guys do enjoy this, make sure to hammer that like button down below. I'm going to start doing a face cam for these. Also, a lot of you guys seem to have really liked the new little team preview thing I started doing down below. If I can find some way to make it a little bit bigger without distorting it too much, then I'm gonna try my best to do that. But really excited that you guys kind of like that, because me, I'm like a very visual person, so I thought it would be really nice for you guys to be able to see exactly what Pokemon I have and exactly what Pokemon my opponent have, instead of it just being a list of names and stuff. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy this, then you know what to do. So I'm not gonna lie guys, we have a really, I don't know if this is a tough matchup or an annoying matchup. It's kind of a mix of both, honestly, because John, for example, is no disrespect to any of my previous opponents so far, but I think John right now is probably our most competent and our toughest opponent. He is 1-2, however, but that just means he's hungry for a W. He really needs to pull out a victory this week. And of course, I am in that kind of in the backed up corner situation, because we are currently 3-0. We lose nothing if we take an L this week, but if John takes another L, he loses a lot. And that can make somebody prep better, and it can make him an even deadlier player. So that's kind of what I'm expecting going into this battle. So let's take a look at the matchup down below. As you can see, I literally have no safe switching to Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is absurd. Oh shit. Okay, we're back. But Nidoqueen is absurd in this matchup, man. The main problem with Nidoqueen is that I need to get off initial chip damage on it, and then from there I think it'll definitely be more manageable. Rotom Mow is also just really damn annoying, because with the proper moveset or the proper predictions, it can beat the combination of my Raichu, Garchomp, and Crocodile if I choose to bring them, which are my main answers to stopping stopping electric types from freely Volt Switch. And there's also the chance he may not even bring Rotom because he feels that he won't be able to get too much use from it. Scarfed Manchow is also kind of annoying. Actually, in his match against Dan, I saw him run a pretty interesting set. Scarf Drain Punch with Regenerator was not something I was expecting him to have run in that matchup, but if he does want to bring that to this game, then that could be a little bit annoying, but we should be able to play around it. I'm 90% sure he's gonna have some type of Scarfer. Manaphy is actually really scary if my team gets entirely too weak in late game, so I'm definitely gonna have to watch out for that. Kamala is kind of annoying just because I can see him definitely bringing Rapid Spin Kamala or bringing Defog Mega Pidgeot. Mega Pidgeot kind of has an iffy matchup in this game. I almost kind of expect him to not bring Mega Pidgeot just because we do have Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl is potentially a humongous threat to his team, so I could see him potentially not bringing that. But let's take a look at what I more or less expect them to bring. I definitely expect a Rain Dance or Tail Glow Z-Move Manaphy, so I gotta watch out for that. Nidoqueen, like I said, just absolutely stupid in this game because I don't really have a safe switch into it. With this speed, he's running enough speed to outspeed my non-speed EV'd Skuntank, so I could see him running a very tankish set. I've seen him run a physically offensive Nidoqueen as well, so I gotta watch out for that. Again, Rotom Mow has a pretty annoying matchup in this game, not gonna lie. Pidgeot could definitely come just because it could pressure my special defensive walls or my Tangrowth, which Tangrowth can deal with Manaphy to an extent, so by bringing Pidgeot he could definitely break it down. Manchow I definitely think is going to be Scarfed, either Scarf Regenerator with Drain Punch like he was bringing, or a Scarfed Reckless High Jump Kick set, which if he does bring High Jump Kick, that could be a little bit easier for me to deal with, just because we could potentially bring Jellicent. And then the last mon is honestly kind of a toss-up. Like I said, Kamala could come. I don't know if you would bring the combination of Kamala and Mega Pidgeot though. Metagross could also come. The Clefable could be really annoying to deal with. I honestly don't expect them to want to bring the Guzzlord. Like, Guzzlord has a really bad matchup in this game. I feel like he could also go double ground with the Gastrodon, so that could be something to watch out for. But I'm like 99% sure he's gonna bring Manaphy, Nidoqueen, and Rotom, and then maybe the last three I'm like 70-ish, 75% sure on what he's gonna bring. But Volturn is just really annoying in this matchup. He definitely has a Scarfer in either Manchow or Rotom Mo. I honestly think Manchow is gonna be the better Scarfer if he does want to bring it, so I'm gonna have to scout out and watch out for that. The reason I say that is because if Rotom Mo is locked into an electric type move, or if I switch in my Raichu on an electric type move, if I brought it, or one of my ground types, then it's just stopped from doing anything. And then if he's got Leaf Storm at -2, I just get a free switch into something that can smack his team around, and I can use that to my advantage. So I'm a little iffy. Actually, I guess the more that I think about it, maybe he's not going to bring Rotom. But either way, like Nidoqueen and Manaphy, I'm 99% sure. Rotom could be Z move, so I can see that coming. And then Mega Pidgeot, I really don't think has too bad of a matchup in this game. Metagross and Clefable could also definitely come, so I have to watch out for those. But I don't like this matchup, mainly because the combination of Nidoqueen plus Manaphy is just super annoying to deal with. So with all that out the way, let's take a look at what we will be bringing. So making his debut, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tomas the Tangrowth. Finally, after 3 weeks, man, we can finally bring our boy Tangrowth here. And obviously we are just rocking a nice Assault Vest set. The cool thing about Assault Vest Tangrowth is that we are guaranteed to live any one hit from Modest, Max Special Attack, Life Orb, Sheer Force, Nidoqueen. And we can also live one hit from Pidgeot. Not obviously back to back, but if we're like at 90% HP, we'll live one hit from either Nidoqueen or Mega Pidgeot. So if it comes down to that scenario, I can directly Earthquake Nidoqueen and get off that very necessary damage to put it in range of where the rest of my team can then outspeed it and revenge kill it. So that's going to be a huge plus in this game. I think Rock Tomb does like a solid 40-ish% to Mega Pidgeot, not to mention that it puts him at -1 speed. So if I'm in the scenario of where I can live one Hurricane, I can then Rock Tomb Mega Pidgeot as he knocks me out with the second Hurricane, and then that gives me a free switch into either one of my other offensive mons that can then outspeed it. So I can definitely use that to my advantage. Earthquake, of course, is just mainly for the Metagross and for the Nidoqueen. Giga Drain is a nice stab move in this game. I was thinking about maybe putting Power Whip, but I really don't want to be in the scenario of where I have to Power Whip Manaphy and then I miss, and then that miss costs me the game. So I decided that Giga Drain was probably going to be the ultimate better option, just because it also gives me a little bit more of recovery options on Tangrowth along with the Regenerator. And then Knockoff is going to be really nice to knock off like a Cobble Berry on the Metagross, or Shucca Berry, or Choice Scarf on Manchow, Scarf on Rotom, Leftovers, a Life Orb on Clefable, maybe even a Life Orb or Black Sludge on Nidoqueen. So that's going to be really handy. I definitely think Tangrowth can put in a decent amount of work if I'm playing the scenarios out correctly. We may be in a scenario of where we have to take one hit from either the Nidoqueen or the Pidgeot and then go from there. So if it does come down to that, then Tangrowth is going to be putting in a lot of work, because if I can weaken Nidoqueen, this matchup is infinitely better. If I can lower the speed on Tangrowth late game, I can then revenge kill it and maybe put it in range of where rocks are going to knock it out. So that's going to be absolutely huge going into this matchup. Next off, of course, we got Julio the Jellicent rocking a solid mixed defensive set. The reason why I went with a bold nature is because this avoids to a KO from knockoff from Manchow if I lose my Colbur Berry, so that's going to be good. We are also not going to be 2 KO'd by Hurricane coming from Mega Pidgeot after Rock, so that's going to be another huge plus. Taunt is, of course, to just stop the Gastrodon from recovering. It's also to stop Clefable from potentially Calm Minding. Energy Ball is able to, I believe, 2 KO the Gastrodon, or if anything, we're going to be able to pop a Rindo Berry on Gastrodon, which is going to be really good. We can also 2-hit KO the Nidoqueen, but the problem with that is that Nidoqueen can probably knock us out before we can knock it out. And if he does bring the Manchow, I need to absolutely make sure that I save this Jellicent, because this Jellicent is probably going to be the best answer that we have to that Manchow. And then of course Recover is just there to be able to gain back HP. So the speed EVs are to outspeed minimal speed EV'd Clefable, because I've noticed he likes to run at least 20 or more speed EVs on his Clefable, and because Jellicent and Clefable have the same base speed, I should be able to outspeed that. We can also outspeed non-speed EV'd Kamala by 1 point, so if it comes down to it, I can outspeed that, then maybe Recover stall it, or go from there. Actually, Kamala can kind of deal with Jellicent to an extent depending on what set he's running, so I'm gonna have to find out what set it is and then go from there. But Jellicent can also check the Manaphy, which is really good. Energy Ball, I believe, is a 2 or 3 hit KO depending on rolls and if I'm able to get up my hazard, so that's gonna really come in handy. I can also potentially taunt him if he's like a Rest Calm Mindset or like a Rain Dance Calm Mindset or something along those lines. I would have really liked to fit Icy Wind on this set somewhere, but I couldn't because Taunt is just absolutely amazing, man, because I can stop Gastrodon, I can potentially even stop Nidoqueen on the switch in, I can stop Clefable from setting up, and just Taunt has so many good benefits in this game that I feel it was probably more useful than Icy Wind in the long run. So we're gonna see how things go, and like I said, just the combination of Nidoqueen plus Manaphy is just so damn annoying to deal with. So if he plays those correctly enough, it could be a really tougher matchup than it already is. So moving on down the line, we have a pretty awesome set. Like, this is probably the one set I'm hoping puts in so much work in this battle. Like, look at his draft, look at these coverage moves, and tell me what switches in to more than 2 hits from Cobalion after rocks or spikes. Nothing. Like, everything on his team gets absolutely annihilated by Life Orb Cobalion, and this is the really awesome thing. Like, Cobalion may only have a base 90 physical attack stat, but if you put a Life Orb on it, it actually hits respectively hard enough to the point where this thing could potentially get a surprise KO or 2, and it can actually 2-hit KO max HP Nidoqueen. Now Nidoqueen, I'm really iffy on the type of set he's going to be running. Like, a bulky modest max special attack set could definitely be what he may go down the route of, but that just means that after it loses like 40% HP, it's in range of where I can then knock him out with Zen Headbutt. Or if he wants to run like a physically defensive set, that means 1, it's not going to be hitting as hard, 2, that's going to relieve a lot of pressure off of my team, and 3, it's going to be easier for me to play around. So that's going to be a huge plus if he does want to bring a more physically defensive orientated Nidoqueen. But for the most part, this Cobalion just 2-hit KOs or OHKOs absolutely everything on his team. If it's mid to late game, everything is going to get just straight 2-hit KO'd or OHKO'd. If it's like early to mid game, everything's going to get 3 to 2-hit KO'd or OHKO'd. So it's just depending on how I played this Cobalion. The only downside is that I have Stealth Rocks, which means I have to give up that 1 free turn of me potentially getting off damage on something so I can get on my Stealth Rocks to help me in the long run of the battle. Stealth Rocks are going to be really huge in this game, especially if he does want to bring that Rotom Mow and bring that Mega Pidgeot, because I cannot allow them to just freely Volt Turn for free throughout the entire match. Not to mention that I'm going to be able to consistently chip down the entire team he brings minus the Clefable. Actually, I'm honestly a little iffy on whether or not he'll bring Clefable, but you always have to prep for everything. This also just annihilates Guzzlord, which I really don't expect him to bring Guzzlord. Like, Guzzlord has a terrible matchup in this game. Magmortar just dies after Stealth Rocks, which is really good. The only downside is that after 2 or 3 Life Orb hits, I'm in range of where Mega Pidgeot can come in and potentially pick me off, so I'm gonna have to watch out for that and play around that. But for the most part, I definitely feel like Cobalion just puts in so much work in this game and can force a switch out or two so I can potentially get up my stealth rocks and then go from there. So our next Pokemon making his return and his debut as a Super Saiyan C user, we got good old Vicente the Victini. So this was originally gonna be a Wise Glasses, especially offensive Victini, but after switching up the movesets, actually, yeah, originally I had Cobalion as Steelium Z Cobalion just to surprise KO the Clefable, but Ironhead already does like 70% minimum damage to Clefable, so I decided to make Corbin the Cobalion Life Orb and then make Victini our Z move Mon, because the cool thing about this is that if he doesn't bring the Guzzlord and he may not have the Metagross, or if he does have Metagross, he shouldn't switch in Metagross on Victini in the first place, but if he doesn't bring Guzzlord, I just click Shattered Psyche and I 2 KO, like, well, I think as long as it's not like max Spadef, max HP, Gastrodon with the Rindo Berry, I 2 KO everything with Shattered Psyche followed up by whatever other move I want to go for. So I can definitely use that to my advantage to potentially get off an early KO in the matchup. And funny enough, Victini is most likely going to be our guaranteed lead going into this game. I know I've used lead Victini in my 2 previous games where I've brought it, but it's just such a good lead, man, because what I'm thinking, and shouts out to my boys Harris and Lamar for helping me build, what I'm thinking is that he's most definitely going to either lead with Manshao, Rotom Mole, or Nidoqueen. And I can lead off Victini, live any hit from all 3 of those Mons, and if for some reason he leads Mega Pidge, I live a hit from that too. But if he leads with any of those 4 Mons, then I live a hit, I click Shattered Psyche turn 1, and whatever he brings in gets absolutely annihilated. So that's kind of the idea behind me having Shattered Psyche in this game, is just to pick up a early or surprise Oko, putting me up 6-5, and then from there I can maneuver around his team a little bit better. I can also potentially save the Shattered Psyche to get off about 60 to 70% on the Manaphy. The reason why I'm running Modest as opposed to Timid is because Timid doesn't really outspeed anything that Modest wouldn't, and by running Modest max speed, I'm able to outspeed non-scarfed Timid max speed Rotom Mo, which is going to be really nice because if it's not scarfed, I'm going to be able to outspeed it and then potentially pick it off, or I can just annihilate things and go from there. Taunt, of course, is mainly for the Clefable, because if I can taunt Clefable and shut it down, that could potentially give me another KO, or I could potentially stop Gastrodon from recovering, which would be absolutely amazing. Energy Ball as opposed to Grass Knot, because Energy Ball does more damage than what Energy Ball would be doing to the Gastrodon. If he does bring Gastrodon, he's brought a Rindo Berry every time, so I'm pretty sure he'll bring it this time. So if I can pop that Rindo Berry, that's going to be absolutely amazing. At the same time though, I'm a little bit iffy on whether or not he'll want to bring Gastrodon, just because we do have Tangrowth and we do have Pokemon that can learn other grass moves that can easily just bop Gastrodon. So we're going to have to see how things go, but Psychic is a very good spammable move, and so is a Blue Flare with the proper prediction, so that's going to be absolutely amazing in this game. Victini can definitely put in a lot of work. The combination of Victini plus Corbin can pressure his entire team enough to the point where just those 2 Pokemon could end up getting most, if not all, the KOs depending on how things play out. So moving on down the line, we have the return of Klefki, aka Child's Play, rocking a pretty interesting set. Now, a main thing about this matchup is that I honestly feel like Spikes, well, no, I guess Spikes and Rocks are kind of the same, but the benefit of Spikes is that I get off more damage on the Metagross, the Nidoqueen, and the Gastrodon, which means it makes rolls or KOs better in my favor. So another potential lead in this game may be Klefki, but that's only if for some odd reason he doesn't bring Nidoqueen. Like, I don't know why you would never bring Nidoqueen to a game, just because Nidoqueen is absolutely amazing in like 99% of the matchups that you will ever have in a draft. That's how good Nidoqueen really is. So the cool thing about this is that I don't expect him to want to bring a Defog Mega Pidgeot. If he does bring Defog Mega Pidgeot, that just means he's not going to have Roost or he's not going to have U-Turn. And if he doesn't have U-Turn, that just makes his matchup a whole lot easier. Or I guess he could go like Defog in 3 attacks, but that really doesn't make sense to me. So I don't expect them to bring that. If anything, Hurricane, Heat Wave, then U-Turn, then either Roost or Defog is what he's going to want to bring. But the good thing about Dual Screen's Klefki in this matchup is that this relieves so much pressure from Manaphy and Nidoqueen. Like, if I'm able to play this Klefki correctly, getting up dual screens could easily be the reason why we win this battle, because we're going to be able to stop the absurdly huge amount of damage that the combination of Nidoqueen, Manaphy, Pidgeot, and Rotom can do to our team in this game. Reflect is also going to be really handy to deal with the Metagross and to deal with the Manshell, or if for some reason he does want to bring physical Nidoqueen again. So that's going to be a huge plus. It does kind of suck that I'm not going to be able to have Thunder Wave in this game, but in theory he shouldn't stay in against anything I can Thunder Wave, especially if he hasn't seen all of my moves. So Flash Cannon is just there for the Clefable. Once I'm able to get up my screens up, if Klefki is low enough, then I can maybe get off a little bit of chip damage on the Clefable. Spikes, of course, are going to be absolutely huge in this game. If I'm able to get up 3 layers of spikes, I think that's going to swing a lot of momentum into our favor. But if anything, I just need to get up 1 little layer of spikes along with Stealth Rocks, putting a lot of his Pokemon in range of where my Victini and my Cobalion here can just pick up KOs a whole lot easier. So Klefki is probably like the MVP, honestly, in this matchup, because I needed to do so much. The EV spreads allow me to chew a potential Adamant Earthquake from the Metagross. I can chew Drain Punches from Scarf Manshell. I think we can live a high... No, I don't think we can live a high jump kick. Can we? No, I don't remember the damage calc. Hold on. Now that I have it here, actually. Hold on. Let's see. Choice Scarf and Manshell. Yeah, we can live a high jump kick from Choice Scarf Manshell if we're at above 90% HP guaranteed. So that's going to be really good. I definitely feel like Klefki has a huge role in this game, and I'm hoping to play it properly. This was originally going to be something like Air Balloon, but the problem with that is that having the extra turns of Reflect or Light Screen can just help my team out so much more. Like, yeah, you can play around for 4 turns and stall out those 4 initial turns of dual screens, but by having those extra 3 to 4 turns, that just applies so much more pressure on your opponent to have them need to play around those extra turns. And then I can save Klefki for later in the battle and try to get up my Reflect or Light Screen again to potentially help me out. So yeah, Klefki is gonna have to do a whole lot in this matchup. And then our 6th Mon, which you guys may have seen on the damage calc, is going to be Rennie the Raichu, which has a pretty decent matchup in this game. We're running a pretty cool Assault Vest set. Now, this is one of the main reasons why I'm not entirely too confident in him bringing the Rotom, because if it is Scarfed and he locks himself into an electric type move as I bring in my Raichu, he gives me +1. Now, the combination of Surf and Grass Knot is able to knock out the Gastrodon and Nidoqueen after +1 on the switch in. So this can also not be 3-hit KO'd by the Mega Pidgeot. I think Mega Pidgeot has a chance to 4-hit KO, which means I can consistently check the Mega Pidgeot if it really comes down to it. I would have really liked to have maybe Nuzzle or Volt Switch as the final move on the set, but by having Signal Beam, I also have a move that I can potentially hit the Rotom with, because let's say he brings in Rotom and I bring in my Raichu on a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt, and then as he switches out, I predict him to switch in, and then we're back in that scenario later in the battle, and now he's thinking he may maybe can leave in Rotom Mo if it's not like a choice set, but I'm at +1 special attack. So Signal Beam, I think after rocks can knock him out depending on his EV spread. So if he doesn't bring Rotom Mo, Lightning Rod isn't entirely too useful in this game, and maybe Signal Beam wouldn't be either, but you always have to prepare for everything. Not to mention that Signal Beam also can kind of smack around the Guzzlord if for some odd reason he wants to bring that. Thunderbolt is able to easily do a solid 60 to 70% to the Manaphy depending on his EV spread. We can also knock out the Pidgeot after rocks and a bit of prior chip damage, and then Grass Knot still does a whole lot to the Gastrodon, and Surf I think is still about a 3 KO on the Nidoqueen depending on how things go. So yeah, guys, actually, yeah, we're running enough speed to outspeed Mienshao, and this is enough speed to outspeed Mienshao as well, if it's not Scarfed, of course. So yeah, guys, that is the team. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about our matchup this week, what you think about this squad. Like I said, guys, this is probably gonna be our toughest game so far, especially because John absolutely needs to win this battle if he wants to even out his score, and if things go in our favor, we will hopefully prevent him from doing that, and we will go 5-0 going, we will go 4-0 going into week 5. So yeah, guys, I'm nervous, I'm excited, and I will definitely be trying my best to pull out a W. So with that being said, guys, hammer that like button down below, and I will see you all tomorrow with the actual week 4 battle. So later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.